assume you change your attitude and you get yourself all squared away.
Yes.
You think you can. You're working harder. You're taking all of these risks. Life is very difficult for a lot of folks on this planet. You know, there are always trials and tribulations. How do you maintain your positive attitude, your brand new, gleaming, fabulous attitude when times are tough?
Well, failure is not the falling down. It's the staying down. And when people have a setback of failure, I ask them, tell them to avoid the why question. In other words, why do I have to go through this? Just why?
Yeah.
That leads to bitterness and negative attitude.
Right.
Better question is, how can I grow through this?
There you go. All right. It's how you get through the problems. Right?
Absolutely.
All right. Alan Zimmerman, thanks so much. Do appreciate it. Nice to have you here.
You also say that most of us spend way too much time worrying, don't we?
It's actually a habit or an addiction for most people.
Yeah.
That the more you worry about something, more likely you are to be addicted to that.
Some people like to worry, don't they?
Well, I think they think it's going to do some good.
Yeah.
And actually, it's the biggest waste of energy there is. It does nothing to make things better. In fact, usually makes things worse. If you worry about your health, for example, chances are better you will get sick.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You give some tips in your book on where to start, how to stop worrying once and for all. The first thing you say that you need to do is you need to put things into perspective.
Yes. In the overall scheme of things, ask yourself, how big of a deal is that worry? If someone cuts you off in traffic, for example, how big of a deal is that? If someone doesn't say thanks when you did a favor for them, how big of a deal is that? Put it in perspective. I was at a marathon last weekend. I was worried about my feet hurting until I met somebody who had no legs.
Yes.
So put it in perspective.
It's very true. You also have to realize that you can cope with this.
Yes. Yes, you have tremendous power inside of yourself just waiting to be released. Don't shortchange yourself. It's like you see in the news, some mother picks a car off a child that's crushing him.
Yeah.
Got tremendous power. And if you'll start telling yourself something like, I can do it, I can cope, I'll be okay, you release power to conquer that worry.
Absolutely. And you also recommend doing what scares you.
Yeah. Years ago, Franklin Roosevelt said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And the philosopher Emerson said, do the thing you fear, and the death of fear is certain. In other words, if you decide this is the right thing to do, it needs to be done, then just do it. And in the doing of that, the worry will go away.
You talk a little bit about an IRA account or an IRA account.
Yes.
I stands for inspect.
Yes. If you look at your worry, ask yourself what is the worst thing that could happen?
Yes.
And how likely is it that that worst thing is going to happen? And if you decide that that worst thing is truly horrible and most likely going to occur, then go to the R, which is respect. Respect that worry. Don't do anything stupid. Pay attention to it. But if you decide that worst thing is not going to happen, not that big of a deal, then go to the A, which is take action. Do what you need to do.
Experience an instant boost of enthusiasm. How do you do that? If you're feeling down, how do you all of a sudden put on a happy face?
Well, there's 100 years of research to answer that question. And the key factor is being an actor, not a reactor. If you want to be more happy, enthusiastic, positive, got to act that way. You'll never get that by waiting for it to happen. If you start smiling, singing a happy song, you cannot stay depressed. Simply impossible.
Never argue with an idiot. Oh, why not?
And he'll beat you up with experience.
Right.
Well, what makes an idiot is not just the fact they're difficult, not the fact that they disagree with you, but they do it in a way that shames you, they play the blame game, hurts your self-esteem.
Right.
And you simply can't let them do that. Eleanor Roosevelt said years ago, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
Ooh.
And she's right. You just can't let people take away your self-esteem.
But is it easy to identify an idiot right off the bat? Sometimes you get...
Yes, tell us, Doctor. How?
Is there one around here?
Yes, there is.
I mean, seriously, you get into this conversation, you might find out halfway through, right? And then
I advise people to choose their fights carefully and ask yourself 3 questions before you engage with an idiot. If you can answer yes to all questions, get in there, pretty good chance of success instead of stress.
Okay.
First question, does a threat exist? In other words, maybe you're on a team project and somebody's not doing their full share of the work. Does it threaten the team's success? Maybe it does. If you can say yes to that, the second question, is it worth a fight? And yes, some things are worth fighting for. Happier marriages, better teams.
Yep.
Other things not worth the hassle.
Right.
And third, if I fight, can I make a difference? If you're convinced there's no way your spouse will ever listen to you, the boss will never hear your point of view, if you're convinced of that, shut up, let it go.
Gotcha.
Wow. Perhaps you've answered this second tip then. You cannot correct what you refuse to confront. These are the issues that you're talking about?
Yes, if you're not willing to confront, can't correct.
Right.
And there's a basic truth in relationships, all relationships, and that is you help promote, create, or allow whatever happens in your relationships. If your kids won't listen to you, you help create that situation. If you have a coworker constantly disrespecting you,
Yes.
you help create that, or at least are allowing it to continue. Hard thing to buy, but we help create every situation in our lives.
We talk about stinking thinking and how contagious it is. You know, wherever you work, one person is talking negative, then the next person is talking. Sooner or later, everybody has sort of that negative culture going on. How do you turn that around?
Well, you need to choose your connections very carefully. If you're in a corporate setting, for example, and you walk to the cafeteria and you find all your coworkers griping, complaining, whining about something, if
As
you're not,
most of us do.
Yeah, it's very easy to get sucked into that and add to that negativity. And for your own well-being, you might have to say, excuse me, I just can't listen to that today. I need to be at my best, need to be positive, and excuse me, I'll just have to eat somewhere else. And you say it in a tactful way, but you remove yourself from that negative influence.